The idea of cults has always caused a lot of discomfort in modern societies. New religious movements with charismatic leaders and values that run perpendicular to those that have been around for generations. Many have a hard time reconciling with the ideas presented. It's not hard to see why filmmakers would want to use these organizations as sources of evil and discord in their films. Satanic cults can bring hellish evil to earth, sacrificial cults will kill people to achieve their goals, New Age cults will force veganism onto your largely carnivorous grandfather. These are all scary ideas to the general public, especially when they've comfortably lived their lives in the service of other ideologies. It's so scary, in fact, that they often cause public panic when included in pop culture and media. Plenty of parents would rather see their child locked in a room without outside stimuli for years rather than join a less established movement. I'm not saying that you should just go out and join a cult, but I am saying that maybe talk to your kids before they run off with a Jim or a Charlie. Hello horror heads, and welcome back to the Scariest channel on YouTube, Top 5 Scary Videos. I'm your horror host, Keegan Hughes, and today we're counting down a classic horror conundrum. We're talking the top 5 scariest cult horror movies, so grab your ceremonial garb and take a big ol' swig of Kool-Aid, cause this one's gonna get weird. Before we chant in unison and summon the one true ruler, make sure to fire a big thumbs up down below and subscribe to join the top 5 scary cult. The top 5 scary new religious movement. Okay, the Lucifers. Let's get going. Coming in at number 5, we've got the House of the Devil. It's hard to believe this one's about a cult, right? There's no way that title has anything to do with other than sunshine and rainbows. In all seriousness, this is a fascinating slow burn of a cult horror with a whole lot to take in before the climactic ritual occurs. Ty West's tribute to horror movie of years gone by, this 2009 flick is equal parts slasher and haunted house with a cult pulling the strings behind it all. We follow college student Samantha Hughes, no relation, as she tries to rent a house in order to escape her awful garbage person roommate. We've all been there. In order to make a quick buck, she takes on a babysitting gig and soon realizes that the man offering the job is a lying weirdo. There is no child to care for, only an elderly mother asleep in the upstairs bedroom. After weighing the pros and cons of remaining in this creepy house of lies, Samantha decides to stick it out for the cash. A Walkman dance sequence and a really gross slice of pizza later, everything goes sideways. And I'll leave it at that. This 70s 80s homage is a fascinating watch, partly because of how true to form it is. West set out to make a flick that embodied old school horror movies, and he did it to a T. Everything from the set pieces to the costuming to the camera work, even the acting screams late 70s, early 80s. It's pretty uncanny if I'm being honest. Like I said before, the House of the Devil is one hell of a slow burn. Nothing really seems to happen for the first little while, but it's alright because the 80s revisionism is so well done. The scares are well dispersed and it builds up a particularly creepy atmosphere using very little for the longest time. Clues are dropped in here and there and strange events occur, all leading up to a pretty insane climax. The cult behind the scenes is smaller than expected, but still manages to get away with some pretty messed up stuff. The credits sequence in this flick is one of the bleakest in recent memory, to say the least. No post-credit scenes here. Filling out our number 4 slot, we've got Mandy. This one would have been higher up on the list if it weren't so gosh darn radical. Like doing a varial heel then a 10-step radical, not like religious extremism radical. Although the cult in this one gets pretty extreme, I'm not gonna lie. Mandy is one of the weirdest and wildest horror movies from 2018 and features a cult like no other, the Children of the New Dawn, led by Jeremiah Sand. For whatever reason, this cult takes a particular interest in forest logger Red Miller's girlfriend, the titular Mandy. The cult also takes a particular interest in extra strong LSD and human flesh, but we'll get there in a moment. So the Children of the New Dawn kidnap Mandy and it's up to Red to go save her. By the way, did I mention that Red is played by Nicolas Cage? Did I also mention he gives one of his most varied performances ever in this movie? Like bouncing between a perfectly contented, respectful logger in love to a vodka chugging, screaming, chainsaw wielding, cocaine blasting, murderous lunatic. Yes, all those details kinda distract from the terror of the cult, but they definitely add to Mandy as a film overall. Now back to the cult. The Children of the New New Dawn are creepily self-worshipping and want nothing more than for people to worship and respect them as well. They employ mutated hellbikers to do their bidding at the mere cost of a human life. Without spoiling too much, things get pretty cosmic very quickly thanks to the superpowered LSD. Honestly, it's difficult to describe the heights of insanity this movie reaches, and I can do nothing but praise Panos Cosmatos and his incredible work. A slow start, maybe, but in the end we get to see Nicolas Cage forge a battle axe and use it. It's hard to argue with that. Sliding in at number 3, Midsommar. Ari Aster loves cults. Both of his feature films present us with a lovely group of people undermining the happiness and safety of our protagonists in the name of a higher power of some sort. In Midsommar, this higher power is the togetherness of one cult, an anti-Western communal sense of self. This seems quite nice, a refreshing look at life and love and family and community, right? Wrong. The Swedish commune hosting their 90-year festival has a twisted view of togetherness, especially when outsiders are lured in to take part. The movie follows poor Danny, still reeling from the murder-suicide in her family, as she tags along with her boyfriend and his pals on their trip to Sweden. Once there, it becomes very apparent they've bit off way more than they can chew, as the Swedes ritualistically sacrifice members and others start to disappear with no explanation. It seems like cults also have a particular affinity for psychedelics because, like in Mandy, the cultists imbibe in plenty of mind-altering substances throughout the flick. The sheer difference between how Westerners and the commune view life and death make this a shocking film to say the least. Then, as things get more intense and the festival drags on, truly disturbing things happen. I'll avoid spoilers this time, but let's just say nobody wants to end up in that triangle building at the end of the lawn. For Danny, this might be a story of catharsis and new beginnings, but for pretty much everyone else, this is a folk horror to match the likes of the original Wicker Man. Coming in at number 2, Rosemary's Baby. The Roman Polanski classic, this cult horror kinda put cult horror on the map. Most of the movies on this list take at least some sort of inspiration from Rosemary's Baby. It's just too iconic not to have an influence. Another serious slow burn, this movie makes you squirm with uncertainty. There are all sorts of small things that happen throughout that make you think to yourself, maybe don't do that, but in context, they're also seemingly innocent. It would be crazy for Rosemary to refuse. By the time you or anyone pieces it all together, it's way too late. The way this movie makes your gut drop is incredible. We follow Rosemary, played by the incredible Mia Farrow, as she and her husband move into a new apartment complex and get pregnant. Soon their neighbors introduce themselves and the newlyweds are treated to plenty of overbearing, near parental supervision by everyone in the building. This would be just annoying in any other scenario, but of course there's something sinister going on. I think the scariest thing about Rosemary's Baby is how normal it all seems until the normalcy just abruptly disappears. The acting here is so top notch, it just really sells the stifling environment. I mean, it could happen to anyone. It could happen to you. All I'm saying is that if your neighbor offers you a smelly pendant and some tannis root smoothies, just back away slowly. And finally at number 1, Hereditary.
Can you breathe?
I said it already. Ari Aster loves cults. And honestly, nothing kept me up at night quite like the slow discovery of Paimon's worshippers. I don't know if I can ever scrub the image of nude old folks grinning in the darkness from my brain. There are just so many absolutely horrifying movies packed into this hellish dollhouse of a movie, it's hard to decide where to begin. It takes a look at the Graham clan as they live their lives following the death of their maternal grandmother. Annie, the mother of this family, is hit with loss after loss in this flick, all while being approached by strangers who knew her mother before she died. Focusing on the grief of the family, Hereditary draws you in with compelling family drama and mortifying agony, but has the cult of Paimon creeping around in the periphery at all times. The strange jewelry on the grandmother, her particular interest in Annie's youngest child Charlie, familiar faces at the grief support group. These all grow into a cacophony of morbid terror as the movie progresses. The final half hour of Hereditary hits a fever pitch and the cult's intentions become crystal clear. The floating of headless corpses up to poor Charlie's treehouse is a movie moment for the textbooks. All of this set to Colin Stetson's killer score and you have a cult horror not soon forgotten. Hail Paimon. Secret societies, slow-burning stories, and gut-wrenching reveals, all hallmarks of incredibly scary cult horror. Do you agree with all the films in this list? Are there any you would add? Have you seen our Scariest Cults and Horror Movies video? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. And speaking of comments, let's take a quick look at some of your more mysterious ones from last time. Tamar Rosenberg Walker says, Black Christmas is the best Christmas horror movie, the original. I watch it every year on Christmas night, never gets old. I wholeheartedly agree. I feel like I must have watched it at least 3 times this holiday season. And Joe Bob's edition. Whiskey Brewer says, deck the halls with bowels of holly. Poor Holly. She got disemboweled on Christmas Eve. Paul Lomax says, they excavate using explosives and discover something truly disturbing. They excavate using explosives and discover something truly disturbing. Good point. They excavate using explosives and discover something truly disturbing. Iron Ox says, okay, can you release that as an actual song or a Christmas horror album? Please. You know what? If you rent me some studio space, I'll give you a Christmas horror LP. 2 of them even. Now what should we call it? And Sarah Herbison says, I saw Rare Exports. It was good, but I saw enough old man Santa dong to last a lifetime. Old man Santa dong. That's a phrase I never thought I would hear out loud. Thank you for that. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Or we're all done soon, if you think about it.
How soon is
Let's just get this going, you know. Satanic cults can bring heavish. We are talking the 5. Whoop. Get a nice couple squats in. The train is going by. 10-step. Nope. That's why am I saying it like that, Chris? Annie. Hey, nay. Up to Poor Charlie's treehouse is a It is a Do you agree with all the films on my list? Wow. Paimon? Bah. Whatever.